Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hey sis, I am back, and I'm better. Listen, life was turning me every way but loose there for a second, so that's why y'all ain't seen me since March of this year. But I'm back, baby. I can't promise that I will be super consistent, but you know what? And this season, done is better than perfect. Like, a big reason as to why I haven't even done a podcast since March is because I felt like I can't do it like exactly how they're used to, and I would just have to do audio in this season. I don't know if they want to, just listen and not see my face, because video podcast is all the thing, all the rage now. All the people are doing it. And one day I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I just got to adjust my businesses and my responsibilities and all the things to the best of my abilities in this season. It's just a lot happening. So that explains, for starters, why you don't see my face and why this is audio. And honestly, going forward until the foreseeable future, I will be doing audio. I mean, if I really get my schedule down pat, and if I really get it to a point where it's like, okay, one day I can just crank out maybe 2 or 3 video podcasts, then I would do that. But even as simple as my video podcasts are, it's a lot, or at least it's a lot for me in this season. And you guys know, especially the OGs who have been with me since the beginning of like my YouTube career and everything. Listen, simple is best for me. I never had no crazy fancy intro effects, nothing. But even still, it's like, just even to set up the lights and record on StreamYard and download it into DaVinci Resolve and then put it onto the thing. It's just, I'm tired even just saying all that. So I went all around the bush to say that you guys are going to get audio podcasts for the time being. So let me know if you like this. I feel kind of like a radio host right now. And I like this. Like, I could be in my sweats. I could be looking like a hot diggity dog mess and still show up. Still show up and give y'all what you want. Give y'all a podcast. So I'm just glad to be back, y'all. And this is going to be a life update, as you can see from the title. Like I said, life had me in a tizzy. This year has been a doozy. And it's not a typical, like, oh my gosh, this year sucks type of year that you would usually hear people talk about. And it's not like I'm just win after win after win. Even though it low-key is, it's just really bizarre. This year is very bizarre, and it's a standout year for me for a couple of reasons, which I'm going to get into today. So I'm going to try to keep this short, 30, 45 minutes tops. I know you like short. Like, that's not short, but that's short for me, okay? Like, or average for me. Like, I've never been a fan of super short podcasts where it's like 10, 12 minutes. It's like, girl, give me something to hold on to throughout the day, So needless to say, I'm here. And like I said, 2024 has been absolutely ridiculous. For starters, before I dive in, you already know I got to tell you to look at the show notes. Look at the show notes down below. Look in the description box. Check out the links. Kingdom Girl Collective, all the things. And you'll hear all these things as I'm talking. But if you are a Christian woman looking for a community, tap into Kingdom Girl Collective. If you are like, hey, I want to, just stay in touch with you and whatever the case may be, follow me on Instagram at official Rondelle Martin. You'll see me on there. I'll try to put more podcast clips up there as well, but you'll also see behind the scenes of my life. So let's get into it. So the year started off, it's all a blur. Can y'all believe we're even in October right now? Woo, like this year is flying by. And that's another thing. This has been one of those years where time has literally been running past me, and I'm like trying to catch up with it. I mean, we always say the older we get, time really flies, but no, time was running past me this year. I'm like, hold on, wait, like I can't even, as soon as I get my grip on something, we're in a new month, we're in a new quarter. But the year started pretty low key, pretty chill. It wasn't anything too crazy. I had come back from Guyana, because you may or may not know, I was in Guyana at the end of 2023, and I came back like right before New Year. So I came back, started the year with my typical lift hustle, doing all the things and just really trying to strategize community level stuff with what was then called Single and Saved in the City. I was like, how are we going to pop out this year? How are we going to turn this thing around? Because it kind of lulled there for a minute. It kind of hit a plateau. And so I was like, what are we going to do? And I'll pause here and say, I apologize if you hear any background noise. I do have my Bluetooth earphones on, but I am by my bedroom window where I usually do my officey stuff in my office nook. and I have a 7-year-old. So just know you might hear something, and I'm gonna try my best. Matter of fact, let me make sure, yeah, the door is locked because he will pop in here and be like, hey, y'all, and say something off the wall. But, anyways, y'all, the year started pretty normal. So I was doing my lift stuff, I was doing all the things. Everything was cool. So then February, I went back home to the DMV area. I was hanging out with friends, doing that, having a time, and then came back and I had to hit the ground running with the Singled Out Summit. So originally the Singled Out Summit was supposed to be an in-person event in Marietta, Georgia. I went and saw the place, got the peer space, did all the things, and I started promoting it, but it just wasn't working out as far as like getting the people that I needed to make it make sense. And I was excited because, as you know, and mind you, the Singled Out Summit was for Single and Saved in the City. But most of my events in Single and Saved in the City have been virtual since I started that community because we're all over the world. There's women all over the US, there's women in Canada, women in the Caribbean, women in Europe. So it's hard to have in-person gatherings as much as I am craving and foaming at the mouth to have one. It's very hard because everyone's everywhere. And I think most people, I would say, value in-person more than virtual, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if you're more of a virtual event girly or if you're like, nah, I want to be in person. Let me know. Or if you're indifferent, comment down below and let me know. But I'm just like, okay, we got to have this in person. I want to get the pictures of us hugging, the video footage, the vlogs, us doing the boomerangs, us like praying for each other and being slain in the spirit on the floor. And just, I wanted it all. And it wasn't panning out. And so I was like, dang, do I cancel this event or do I just continue on and make it another virtual event? Mind you, in February, I was supposed to have a Galentine soiree where I was going to go back up to the DMV and I was going to host it in Baltimore, Maryland. I had already had my speaker that was going to come, my girl, Jasmine Lowry. What's up, sis, if you listening? But she was going to come and speak. I was going to give out gift bags. I was going to do all the things. And the space was really cute. It was affordable. But again, the timing didn't work. I wasn't selling the tickets. I sold like 2 tickets and both of them, disputed the charges or something. Like it was crazy. And that's also when I was using Eventbrite. So I was like, can't be doing that. So I was already kind of bummed because I had to cancel one event. So now I'm facing another opportunity where I have to, or another tough decision, I should say, where I have to possibly cancel an event. And now I'm really distraught. I'm like, is it me? Is it me? Am I the problem? Because in 2023, Single and Saved in the City really like plateaued because a lot of the people that supported me when we started in 2022 were no longer talking to me. They were no longer associating with me. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. But my main like attendees basically was just like deuces, and some of them like moved on and had gotten engaged, got married. And at the time our group was just for single women. So long story short, isn't it funny how we say long story short after we done talked for like 15 minutes? But I ended up turning the Singled Out Summit to a virtual event. And everything that could have went wrong. I mean, like at that time, my house was having electrical issues because the breaker outside was malfunctioning. There was like a strip in the inside of the breaker that kept tripping up, like so it would lower the lever that needed to stay up in the up position for the lights to continue running in the house. It would lower the lever to the down position. So we'd be in the house cooking, doing our normal day activities, and boom, lights out. And you're just like, dang, so like what's going on? So we had to keep going in the yard, flipping the switch multiple times a day. We in the yard. I mean, just looking crazy. Like you coming out the front door, constantly going to the side of your house, flipping the switch. Like it's just too much, and it's inconvenient. So I was like, I can't have the meeting here, the summit here, because that's going to be a problem. And the speakers were going to be in person, even though the attendees were going to be virtual. So I had to find a peer space, which that ended up working out phenomenally. I got a great place in Buckhead. The owner was really cool, very laid back, beautiful house in Buckhead with a view of Atlantic Station and all the things. So I would definitely use that space again. Had a rooftop terrace and everything. I didn't even get to enjoy the space how I really wanted because the summit took the whole day, literally. And then I also was dealing with issues with just, again, tickets. Like when you're planning an event these days, words from the wise, plan long in advance. Like, gone are the days where you could just pop out and be like, hey, I have an event coming up in 3 weeks, y'all buy tickets, and people show up. Now, if you got that kind of influence, if you got that kind of pull, you got the numbers, most importantly, you could do that. You could probably do that. But if you're still like a very small business owner, you're still building up your clientele, your audience, whatever, give yourself at least, I would say, at least 3 months of solid marketing where like you're just going hard. And honestly, I would say more like 6 months to really give yourself time, if not to a year, depending on how big the event is and all the things, like, because you're going to have to keep repeating yourself. You're going to have to keep marketing. You're going to have to keep putting it out there. And you don't want to be crying and throwing up like, oh my gosh, like I didn't get the tickets or the ticket sales to get the money I need, because chances are you need people to buy tickets so you can pay vendors and so on and so forth. Again, unless you have a lofty business bank account, business credit card, which those are things you should work towards. But let's be real, like when you're starting a business, chances are you don't have those things. So you're factoring in that money you need into the price that people pay, and maybe a little savings you have or something like that. So it was just, anything you could think of that can go wrong literally went wrong. It was to the point where I was literally at the tail end. I was like, am I going to have to cancel this? Are we going to have this event outside? I was so nervous booking that pier space. Excuse me, y'all. And I literally talked to the host and I was like, are you sure this is a real place and not a scam? Are you positive? Because if this doesn't pan out, I will be crying and throwing up on your driveway. Like, I literally told him that. And he was like, no, it's real. Like, he was very reassuring. He assured me he was a real person. He was like, here's my website. Here's my, email. Here's this, here's that. So you can verify, see the reviews, see what people are saying. So I was like, okay, cool. Because he was based in New York. And like I said, I'm in Atlanta. This is in Buckhead. So I'm like, is this real? Is this a scam? Is he going to take my money? And so, long story short, it turned out to be great. The day was just so powerful. It's like I could see why the warfare was real, because all the attendees were like, wow, this is what I really needed to hear. I really needed to be in the room. This just inspired me. It was me, my mom, my friend Brittany, my friend Dr. M, and my friend Naquandra, who were the speakers. And the 5 of us really went in. We really went in, and we were able to just speak to single women at the time, because the single women were the ones who we were talking to, because it was still single and saved in the city at that time. And we talked about, just stepping into your feminine authenticity, honoring Christ with your life, like holistically honoring the Lord. We talked about self-love. We talked about dating wisely and smart. We talked about so many different things, but it was very impactful. And so when the day came around and I saw like all of us in the room talking, all of us doing our thing, and how the Lord was just using us, I was like, this is why the devil didn't want this to happen. Like, he did not want this to happen. He did not want this breakthrough to actually come to pass, And so I was just very happy that it actually happened. And then after that, whenever you're planning an event, you have to decompress, because it's just so much that goes into it. The constant marketing, the constant planning behind the scenes, on top of everything else that you have to do in life, on top of the demands, And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to decompress. That event was April 27th. And then my father ended up, before I get into that, because that's pretty heavy. I did get to meet my girl Jessie, Coaching with Miss Jessie. Y'all have seen her on the channel before. I've advertised her before, and I will be advertising more. So if you want a sponsorship slot, definitely check the description box. All the links are in there, the show notes, everything. But she finally got to meet me. I finally got to meet her. She came to Atlanta for the Black Christian Influencers Conference on Mother's Day weekend. So mind you, we've known each other for like pushing 5 years now. It's been a minute, And so she came, I didn't pick her up from the airport, but I did meet her at the hotel. I was giving her transportation throughout the whole weekend. So I always appreciate her supporting me in that sense, and just, us getting to hang out in those pockets of time. Because every time I've seen her, it's only been twice so far that she's come to Atlanta. It's like on business. So, but we always find pockets of time to hang out, kiki, all the things. And so that was a fun weekend. We actually spent Mother's Day together, because my sister was gone traveling. No, my sister was in town. She was in town, because at that time she was still traveling for work. But she kept Christian, so me and Miss Jessie can have a very fun moment. We went to Cheesecake Factory, had us some food. We talked. And let me just say, Jessie is that girl when it comes to style. Like she has an amazing sense of personal style. She really puts it together like nobody else. And everywhere we went, people were like, "Girl, I love your outfit, man. You look amazing." I'm like, "And do, and do." She looks great, you know. So that was a fun day, fun weekend overall. We did our Mother's Day special for the Women of the Bible stories that we do every month on my platform and her platform. And it was just a time, like we were able to do it in person and all the things. So that was a fun weekend. And then the next weekend, unfortunately, my father passed away. So I'm trying to think. I feel like that week that she was here, he was already in the hospital. But I know it was a fast kind of, yeah, he was already in the hospital because he had got taken to the hospital, like I want to say when my mom had went to Guyana, because right after the summit, a couple days later or about a week later, my mom had flown to Guyana, because at this point my mom's basically splitting her time between the US and Guyana. She spends like half the year there, half the year here, but she's like moving to Guyana where she's going to be spending most of her time there but still be here for like a couple of months out the year. And so she was already gone. She had eye surgery coming up and stuff, and my dad was in the hospital with kidney failure. So, you know, for those that don't know, my dad has had a long journey, had a long journey with sickness. And in 2014, he almost died. My mom found him passed out in the bathroom. He had a collapsed colon. He had a couple strokes, or like one major stroke, and he had like a very contagious virus that was worse than like the Rona. You know, it was pretty strong. It was a couple of things going on with him, but it was around that time through his recovery process and stuff that his kidneys had started to fail. So he was actually living the last 10 years with a failing kidney. I want to say it was functioning at like 20% or 30%. It was less than 50% kidney functionality that it was functioning at. So he lived a long time with his kidneys functioning at that level. But okay, hopefully it's not too choppy. I had to get the background together real quick. I told y'all having a child ain't no joke. But basically my dad was functioning at less than 50% kidney function for like the last 10 years. And so it just started to decline rapidly sometime either end of April or into early May, but basically about that week, where within that first week that my mom was there, he was in the hospital already. And so she went to visit him. They were keeping us abreast of everything. We were praying and stuff, but you know, for healing. But my mom didn't sound as confident as she usually does. And the last time my dad got really sick, that time in 2014 when he almost died, he was literally 50% chance of living. She sounded more confident then. She was like, nah, he's gonna live, like, and not die. And you know, like we just were like really in a better, well, I was confused back then. I can't even hold you. Like, I was confused. I was upset. I was like, God, I'm not ready to lose my father. Like, you know, not that you're ever ready to lose a parent. That's always a hard pill to swallow. And this is obviously my first parent I've lost. I've lost my oldest sister in 2012, but that's a different kind of pain. And then my oldest sister and I didn't grow up together. Like, we started to get close later in life. So the pain it was a different kind of pain. It was kind of like a regret. Like, I wish we had more years, you know, that kind of thing. But with a parent, and a parent you're close to, which I'm close to both my parents, is a whole other ball game. And so with my mom not sounding as confident, I was like, ooh, you know, I just had a pit in my stomach. Like, I don't think this is going to end well. And he passed away on May 17th. I got the call from my aunt, and she was like, he passed. And I was just like, what? Like, at first it didn't really hit me, because my dad has been in Guyana. He passed in Guyana, by the way, where my family is from, Guyana, South America. But he's been there for like 7 years, you know, and I had seen him and all the things. We talked on the phone and video chatted as much as we could, but I still was like in my mind, like, okay, when I go to Guyana in the summer, I'm going to spend the summer with him. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Like, within reason, because he was in a nursing home type of deal for the sick and elderly. And so, you know, I couldn't have like done too much because they have stricter rules, but I definitely planned to like visit him and like do things and all the things. And so I was just like, wow, like he's not here anymore, you know? And then, like I said, my mom's moving to Guyana. My family slowly but surely is transitioning to Guyana. And I was just like, wow, you know? So I remember I was taking my son to speech therapy at the local elementary school. And I was like, It didn't really hit me for real. And then over the coming days and weeks, it started to become more and more of a reality. It really did not hit me until I got to Guyana in July and I saw his body in that casket. That is a pain I would not wish on my worst enemy. It is the hardest thing to sit there and watch a parent in the casket. And it's just like, or whoever was like a parent to you, like a guardian. It's just like, wow, like, I just wanted to be like, Dad, like, wake up, like, what are you doing, And then, of course, this is my son's first instant, his first, dealing with death. So he was like, why is Granddad sleeping? Why isn't Granddad getting up? And, all the things. But I can say my dad looked at peace and he doesn't have to suffer anymore. And hearing the last conversation he had with my mom, and just my mom and my aunt, I think was the last conversation, and how much he was telling my mom how much he loved her. He's grateful for their lives together and all those things. I'm just like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And I just feel so honored and blessed to have had my dad. My dad was such a great man. He is such a great man. Like, funny, smart, calm, cool, collected, like, can work any room, a man of standard, a man of value, integrity, hardworking, put his family first, love God. Like, just such a blessing. And for his birthday, because his birthday is August 21st, my brother's girlfriend had put together like a birthday celebration, and she had asked me to find pictures and stuff, and I was just reminiscing, like, I really lived a blessed life. Sometimes life just beats you up and you feel like, dang, like, I never get blessed, I'm always the last in line, when is my ship gonna come in, because you get caught in that cycle of comparison, and it's like, well, they've got this and they've got that, and it seems like they got the job that just is so great and pays well, and they're a rock star on the job, and they got the house, and they got the cars, not even a cars that they want, and everybody loves them, and they just make friends so easily, and they're so beautiful or so handsome, like, it's so easy for us to just get into a woe is me cycle of like, how come I don't have? And, ever since I got pregnant, life has definitely been a lot of fires being fought. I have not had a cakewalk of a life since then, But I was just like, God, I just thank you for my parents. And I can't even imagine how my mom feels, because they spent more of their lives together than apart. My mom is going to be 74 this December, and she was married to my dad for 41 years. So, she spent most of her life with my dad, and my dad spent most of his life with her, and they were truly best friends. And just seeing the love that they share, the friendship they share, it definitely made me reflect on my own life and just my own choices, and like, okay, like, I would want my dad to be proud of me if he were still here. So let me be smarter about this, or what would he tell me in this moment? But then it's weird, because you have those moments where it's like, I just want to talk to him. Like, I just want to hear his voice. I just want to hug him one last time. And I'm so glad we went in December, because we almost didn't go. It's like, again, it was so much warfare. And my mom was like, maybe we shouldn't go. I was like, no, we have to go. Like, if we don't go on this trip, we will regret it. I didn't know that 5 months later, my dad would pass, less than 5 months later. But I was like, we gotta go. Like, it's just, I just felt it, like, we have to go. We have to see him. We have to spend Christmas with him. We have to do all the things. And I had great plans, but God really is sovereign, and he's gracious and kind, even in all the things. Like, even the way my dad passed in the hospital, surrounded with family, couldn't be all of us, unfortunately, but he got to see his wife one last time. My sister, because of my dad's funeral, we got to spend her birthday with a bunch of family in Guyana. That typically doesn't happen for us, because, like, growing up, granted, I have a big family. My mom's the oldest of 9. My dad was in the middle of 10 surviving children. And, I mean, some of them have gone on to glory now, but 17 aunts and uncles is what I have. However, I have lots of cousins, like second cousins, third cousins, all the things. So my family is huge, very big. And we have a sizable amount of us in the United States, but still, in the grander scheme of things, most of my family is scattered throughout the Caribbean, Canada, or England, but particularly in the Caribbean, for like the closer relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, first cousins and stuff, second cousins. And so it was always harder for me to get family time growing up. That's why I grew up going overseas a lot. When people would hear that, they're like, oh, you were spoiled. It's like, I mean, I lived a decent life. Don't get me wrong. Like, we had years of without, where we were really struggling. And the thing is, my parents were a team, so they worked their way up to where were living high on the hog, for by the time it got to a certain point. But it's like I didn't grow up just being like, oh, I'm gonna just go to my aunt's house or I'm gonna just go to grandma's house for the summer. Like they had to book a ticket, they had to plan a trip, and we couldn't spend the whole summer. We spent like 2-3 weeks tops, So I didn't have that luxury of having aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma, granddad nearby. And so I was just like really happy that my sister got to spend her birthday with family, because that doesn't usually happen. Usually for birthdays, it's like friends that became like family, colleagues, etc. But very rarely do we spend a birthday with aunts, uncles, and cousins. And my sister got to do that because we had already planned to spend the summer in Guyana. And so when we came back in December, we were like, we're going to go and spend like 5 or 6 weeks in Guyana, really flesh out this move, really just spend time, have a ball. Cause I hadn't spent the summer in Guyana since I was a little girl. I usually go for like Christmas time, and we were just excited. So then when all the things happened, we walked into a funeral, which you will see a vlog on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to show you a ton of the funeral, but I will show a clip of like, when we were going towards the burial ground and stuff. And, yeah, so we ended up walking into a funeral, but my sister's birthday, the funeral was July 5th. My sister's birthday is July 15th. So we were able to go to this really nice restaurant in a hotel called the Grand Coastal Hotel in Guyana. Nice restaurant, great food. It was like maybe about 12 of us all together that were there, family and some friends as well. So that was a blessing. It's like, even though we descended upon Guyana for not a great reason. I mean, we originally, like I said, we're going to go, but like my aunts and them, they were not originally going to be in Guyana for the summer, but they came for not a good reason, but we ended up being able to spend my sister's birthday together. And let me tell you, summer in Guyana, I was outside. Okay. I was outside, sis. Okay. What? Listen, I had a time. I ain't going to spill it all on the podcast. Some things you got to keep close to the chest, but I had a good old time. I met a lot of people. I went out. I booked a hotel stay for the weekend for me and Christian at the same hotel, Grand Coastal. You'll see all that in the vlog. I had like a mommy son date where we went to this place called Movie Town. They have a movie theater, of course, Movie Town. They have Hard Rock Cafe, an arcade, some stores and stuff. We went to Giftland Mall, which Movie Town and Giftland Mall are around the corner from each other, like a 10-minute walk, because there were many a day we walked instead of catching a taxi, because we're going to save all our coins wherever we can. We went to the East Bank, which is like going towards the airport. I hung out with my niece, which that's a story in and of itself. But long story short, my sister that passed away, that's her daughter. So again, we didn't grow having that auntie niece, like super tight relationship, but we were like, we're building it. And I'm very grateful for that. So, my dad passing was like a wake up call in a lot of instances. And let me tell you, it also showed some true colors in some situations. So it's like, you really do see people's truth when you're going through something, whether that's good, bad, or ugly or indifferent, and I saw the truth, honey. I saw it right in my face, and I needed to see it. And so I was just grateful overall, even though I'm still grieving, even though some days that grief hits me like a ton of bricks and I'm just like, I do not like this. Like, this sucks, I would say more days than not, I'm in a space of gratitude and just like, God, even still, you are good. Even still, you are faithful, and I'm just grateful for my little village. My village is very, very small, but I'm grateful for it. So that was the summer. I was outside. Okay. The group chat knows. The group chat, they done got all the tea. They done seen the pictures, the videos, certain things. You just cannot post everything online. Okay. You cannot tell everybody everything, but just know I did that. Like this. This summer was amazing. Not to mention that I started my virtual assistant business, and I started that in June. So we were in Guyana from July to August. I started the virtual assistant business in June because I was like, when I'm in Guyana, I'm still going to have to pay bills. I'm still going to need money like coming in. Because when you're somewhere for 5 weeks, like most of us cannot save up that amount of money to really be outside for 5 weeks ahead of time. Like, not on such short notice. Because mind you, we were in Guyana in December. So from December to July, it's like, no, like I needed money while I was there. And obviously I can't do Lyft when I'm there. I can't do certain things, and I don't have the time to build up clientele to be like, oh, I'm gonna do hair and nails. Like, I need something I could do on the go. So I had asked my friend Brittany the one who spoke at the Singled Out Summit, I was like, I'm thinking of doing this or that. Like, what's your advice? And so she was like, oh yeah, I have a friend who does virtual assistant work. She's been doing it for so many years. She makes so much a month, like minimum and stuff. So I'll connect you with her. And I got to give Brittany a shout out because she really has been connecting me with people, especially over the summer. She was connecting me like crazy, so I connected with her. She kind of gave me the whole lay of the land. Like, this is how you should do it. This is how you should package your rates. This is how you can, package your skill sets, this at the third. Then my girl Naquandra, she's already a graphic designer on different sites where she gets clients. So she was kind of breaking some stuff down. Another one of my friends does VA work. So grateful for God positioning me with the right people to really break it down for me. So I got my first client in June. July, I had a couple clients. And then by the end of Q3, I finished Q3 with 4 clients. I had 3 clients secured by August, like faithful recurring clients. And I got my 4th one at the end of Q3. And so I'm like, God, you did that. And it's just, again, a testament that God prepares you for where he's leading you, because I'm doing VA work using the skill sets I've gained over the last 4 or 5 years, managing my own YouTube channel, managing my own, influencer career when I was doing more influencer work through Instagram, and even still managing my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, like doing my own business ventures has led me to this point where I can say like, yeah, I'm proficient in this, I'm proficient in that. I could help you with this, or I could point out some loopholes and stuff and just fine tune your process. And the good thing is these are all people that know me. So it's like we give each other grace, and we mesh well together. And I'm really big on that. I didn't leave corporate America making 6 figures to now be stressed out working with people I don't have to work with. Like, I'm very big on, do we mesh well together? If our personalities don't mesh, I will turn down that money. All money ain't good money, y'all. Don't be chasing money. Chase purpose. Chase what God is leading you to, and you'll be able to tell based on how he opens up doors, what he presses upon you, that unction, that urgency you feel to do something, and you're like, dang, like, I can't shake this. I got to do this. Like, that's how you know it's God, or at least some of the ways you know it's God. And so it's just been great, and it's been growing. I haven't even gotten on the website where I can get clients in. This is all word of mouth, and it's just booming so well to where it's like I have turned people away already. Like, I can't get to your project right now, so you're gonna have to wait to sign up to be a client because I got a wait list. Like, but I love it, let alone when I actually get a flow. And then I'm diversifying my income. I'm not just doing that, like, taking it back while I was doing all these things in single state in the city, and it was getting back some steam. I formed a private community on the Geneva app, and baby, me and my friends, we will wear Geneva out. Geneva is weary. She hates to see us coming because we gonna form a Geneva group every time. Every time we go form a Geneva group. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting people off of Facebook. I'm getting them onto Geneva. We're forming like a more intimate, tight-knit community of people that actually want to engage. Because there's levels to this. Some people just want to be on the email list, like, when's the next event? Other people are like, I don't mind like being in the group, but I'm going to be in and out. And then there's those that are like, I'm going to be here. I got my faithful few that are like, I'm going to be at the events. I'm going to be at the workshops. Shout out to all of y'all, my faithful few that show up every time, or mostly every time, unless they absolutely can't. And so I was doing all these things, and I'm like, I just feel like a push to pivot. Like, talking to only single women was good for the first 2 years. Well, I pivoted before we reached the 2-year mark, but let's just say the first 2 years, it was effective. It was what God was leading me to. But I felt like I didn't want to just box myself into being like the single girl coach anymore, or the group for the single girlies. Like, I wanted it to be like we can all come together as women, because one thing I've noticed throughout my life walking this walk of faith is that women tend to separate a lot. So it's like when you're single, like the single girls stay together. When you're married, it's like, oh, this is for the single girly, the married girlies, and wives tend to stick together. And I get it. It helps to have people in the same season of life as you, wise counsel, all the things. But there is power in unity, and single women and married women can glean from each other, can be sisters, can do life together. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm married now, peace. Like, like, we can still fellowship, sis. You ain't got to run off. We can still talk. I'm not poisonous. I'm not contagious as a single woman or dating or whatever. So I was like, I just feel this push, to do it. And like I said, God will show you where you need to go. While I'm feeling this unction and this push to switch things up and to pivot, I'm getting wives in my group. Wives are revealing themselves. They're like, yeah, I've been married this whole time. I've been in the group. I'm like, what? Like, you slipped through the cracks? So I'm like, God, okay, I hear you. I see you. And so I was in Guyana, And I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna change the group. I already have the name, all the things, because Kingdom Girl has been something I've been using for the last 2+ years. Like all my events will be Kingdom Girl this, Kingdom Girl that. It actually stemmed from my clothing line. I used to have my online boutique, which will be coming back. I don't know when, but it will be coming back. And it was I had this shirt, very popular shirt. It was my bestseller called Kingdom Girl. It was, the picture on it was said Kingdom Girl, and it was like that repetitive wording that you would see on like the shopping bags. You know those thank you bags? It was like that. It was designed like that, and that was my bestseller. Even when I wear that shirt today and I go out, people are like, I love that t-shirt. Da da da. So definitely gonna bring that back. But that kind of stuck with me, so I would always use Kingdom Girl. And I was actually going to name Single and Saved in the City. What was I gonna name? I don't know if I was gonna name it the Kingdom Girls or something like that, but it was gonna have Kingdom Girl in the title. I actually put it to the vote, and Single and Saved in the City won by like 3 votes. It was very close. It was almost neck and neck. So I stuck with Single and Saved in the City. So I already knew that when I started Single and Saved in the City, the day would come where it would be for all women. I just didn't know when, and I already knew the title would involve Kingdom Girl in some way. And so I'm in Guyana. I'm talking with my coach, at the time. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like now's the time. Like, I'm tired of hemming and hawing about it and be like, oh, I can't do it yet. I can't do it. Like, I'm going to just do it. Sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith. Sometimes we use, I'm waiting on God as a crutch. Like, oh, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. God is waiting on you, sis. It's time for you to move. It's time for you to move. Like, he gave you the power of the Holy Spirit. You have wisdom, right? So you can make a decision. Like, all hell's not going to break loose because you made a decision. Especially something like this. Like, be wise, have discernment, but don't use it as a crutch. Like sometimes you use it as a crutch. And so I was like, I'm gonna just do it. And she was like, yeah, like that's great. I'm excited. I was like, I just didn't want you to feel like I wasn't taking your advice, because we had like fleshed out a whole business plan and plan of action like a couple months prior. She was like, no, I'm excited. And now I could be a part, and be more talkative, because she was in the group, but kind of like lurking, because she's like, I'm married, but I was like, I want you in the group to make sure I'm doing like what I should be doing. Give me advice, so I can make this as efficient and impactful as possible. And so I changed it. I can't remember. Did I announce it? I announced it when I came back from Guyana, because I was like, I'm not going to announce it yet, because like I said, I was outside in Guyana. So I was doing business, but I was definitely outside more than doing business. I did just enough business to keep the money rolling in to pay my bills and stuff, but I was definitely outside more than I was doing business, as I should, because that wasn't a cheap trip. Okay. And so I came back, announced the rebrand to Kingdom Go Collective, and I got so much confirmation from that rebrand, because people were like, yes, I was waiting for this. I was praying for this. I was hoping it would change. So when I get married, I don't have to leave the group and this and that. So I was like, okay, God, I see why you were having me to do this. And we've really just been helping a lot of women not even just this year, since since our inception, we've helped a lot of women with life needs, business needs, supporting them, showing up, just really being a sisterhood. Like, if nobody else gonna show up, someone from Kingdom Go Collective gonna show up. If nobody else gonna pray for you, we gonna pray for you. Like, cause I literally do that every single week. I will stop in my tracks if someone's like, can you pray for me? And I would do that, or somebody else would if I can't get to it, so it's like, you're gonna have that community. And sometimes it's like, we don't realize how much we need that until you're in it and you're like, I've been needing this. So that was another big thing that happened this year. Single and Saved in the City rebranded to Kingdom Go Collective, and it's just been growing steadily ever since. I planned my first retreat. So I was supposed to have my first retreat in July of this year. And it was another thing I had to cancel. Like I said, 2023 was rough. I was like, God, like, am I meant to have retreats? Like, I'm seeing everybody else around me planning retreats, and it's like they just plan something, pull it out there behind, and it's just a success. Like, oh, we going to LA, and boom, tickets selling out. It's like, dang, they barely even marketed that thing. Like, they just made an announcement and people are beating down their door. And it's like, I did all this planning. I did the calculations. I met with the travel agent. We flushed everything out. We planned everything to be as all-inclusive as possible. Like, we really did all the things, and it just was not panning out. And I just found myself canceling. I'm like, God, I'm getting weary, and it's starting to take a hit on my ego. Like, am I just not the trip girly? Am I not the event girly? Like, am I just meant to just be here, just, encouraging and stuff? And don't get me wrong, I love to encourage, but it's like, I want to be outside with my girls. Like, what are we doing? And so this year came along, and I partnered with one of my really good friends, and we sold out our first retreat. Like, I'm so excited about that. We done formed a whole business now, a whole nother business. We support each other's stuff. Like, and granted, me and all my girls support each other's stuff. And I'm not going to start calling out names because I don't want nobody to feel left out. Like, oh, well, I support your stuff and you ain't calling me out. Like, you know who you are. The coach's corner, all y'all in the Geneva group. Like, I just love all y'all. You know who you are. You know who you are. But we planned a whole nother business just from conversation. And I got to backtrack too. In June, I finally got to meet my girl Whitney. And me and her, you meet someone and it's like y'all just instantly click. Like, you feel like you've known each other forever. That's how it's been with my girl, my twin. We call each other twin, Whitney. And we got to meet in June. We had a ball. I got to see Naquandra again because she had come in April to speak. I met Amber, her friend, and we all connected and just had a time in the Airbnb. It was just a nice weekend of like fellowship. I didn't even get to stay with them the whole weekend because that was leading up to my Guyana trip. But it was in conversation in the car during that trip that we were talking, and it was just like, this is a business idea. Like, and the thing about us is we will have an idea. Don't play with us. Like, we would toss something out in conversation. An idea will come up. And by the next business day, we done fleshed out the LLC. We done got the email, the landing page. Like, we're already planning the first event or activity. Like, we are that type. Once we get an idea, it's like we putting this to paper. We're going to start fleshing this out so that we can, get this ball moving. And it's just been going ever since. But again, it was looking a little rocky leading up to the retreat. Planning of the first retreat that's happening next year, and it brought up those feelings of insecurity in me. I ain't even gonna hold you. And I had this talk with her, so hopefully she's not surprised listening to this. If she is listening, like, what? Like, you're like, girl, we talked about this. But it brought up those feelings of insecurity, like, well, dang, like, how come when I'm attached to something, it's like it has to be canceled all of a sudden? Like, nobody want to show up. Nobody sees the value to be like, oh, I'm going to pay for it. But you'll book a $2,000, $3,000 trip to go with someone else that, if I'm keeping it a buck, and this isn't with everybody, because I do know some people that charge for their retreats and their trips and excursions, but they're really engaged with their community. But I'm talking like the people that have more notoriety. Like, you'll drop that money to go with them, but they're not like in the weeds with you on a day-to-day. Like, they're not by your side walking this journey with you how I am. And that's what I'm saying. Comparison is dangerous because you'll start looking at that and be like, well, dang, like, I'm in the trenches with you. You can't even like come. I'm thinking of you when I plan this trip. I'm trying to think of how you can afford it and how things can go and all the things, but you don't even want to come type of deal. So it was looking a little shaky there for a minute, but I think people just had to get over the hump of summer and all the things. But we sold out. We sold out right at the end of Q3. And so a lot of things kind of came to fruition at the end of Q3. And a lot of things have just been happening and like springing forth in 2024 in general, where it's like, I see what you're doing, God. And you know what? At the end of 2023, God gave me the word rest, because I actually, again, if you watch my YouTube channel, you would have seen this challenge I did with some other YouTubers on like a New Year's Eve encouragement kind of challenge. And we all gave a word for the year 2024. And I just kept hearing rest, rest, rest. And I taped my video in Guyana in December 2023. And I was like, in a nutshell in the video, you can still find it on my channel right now. Just look up Rondelle Martin on YouTube. You'll find it. But I was like, God is literally telling me to rest. Like, trust him. Don't, spin your wheels trying to figure it all out on your own. Just be still, surrender type of deal. Like, and don't be still as in don't do anything, but rest your soul, rest your mind, your will, your emotions. Let God handle it. He got you, because it's going to happen in a miraculous way. Like, it's going to happen by his power, his might, not yours, those type of situations. And when I tell you God has had me in that posture all year, literally all 2024, he has had me in that posture of rest, where it's like, sit down somewhere. I got it. Like, you do A, B, and then leave me to do C through Z. Like, and anytime I try to push the envelope and do more than God wants me to do, that's when things go awry. Or if they don't go awry, it's like I'm just way more stressed out than I need to be. Like, it happened like that with the Singled Out Summit, when I was trying to do it my way, trying to go this way, that way, all the things, and just do what I think the event needed to be for it to be successful and impactful. I was dealing with all hell breaking loose. But when I finally literally surrendered and threw my hands up and said, God, I'm done. Like, you have at it. It's like things started to come together. Kingdom helpers started to come. People started being like, I'm going to sponsor a ticket. I'm going to sponsor the meals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, like, it just came together. Same thing with the Guyana trip. Like when I just surrendered and I was like, okay, God, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna force it. Like if people need VA services, you will send them to me. The clients came. It's like he just constantly has been showing me this year how to relinquish the need to control. With the retreat that sold out next year, same thing. We're like, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, da da da. When we finally were like, all right, we just gonna see, all of a sudden sold out. So like literally it's so funny because in August, we had an original due date in August of like when you got to pay the deposit. We didn't see no motion in August. That thing was crickets. Okay. We were like, dang, like ain't nobody gonna show up. Not even 3 or 4. Lord have mercy. I know I was hurt. I can't speak for my business partner, but I was hurt. Your girl was hurt. Okay. And I was, like I said, it bruised my ego yet again. And I was like, I'm going to just disable the links because ain't nobody going to sign up. If they're going to sign up, they sign up by now. Why did the due date come? And on the due date, one of the ladies who did buy for the retreat next year, she was like, I went to pay and I didn't see the link. It wasn't working. And so I was like, oh my goodness. I literally texted my business partner. I was like, girl, why did someone go to the link to try to purchase? We were cracking up. We were like, are you serious right now? Like, but it's just, again, a lesson of resting in God. Like that has been the recurring lesson, the recurring theme this year with me and God, where he's like, I told you to rest now. Well, sit down. Like, what are you doing? You doing too much. Sit down. I got you. You did the legwork I wanted you to do. Now have a seat and relax. Like you got other things to tend to. I'm trying to help you out. Help me help you. And so we rebooted everything. We revised some things. We did what we needed to do and what we feel led to do. And we sold out, and I was like, God, thank you so much. Like, I was just really grateful because for her, like my business partner, this ain't her first rodeo. She done sold out 2 retreats already, so, but for me, I'm like, yes, like, and I know she's excited too, but like for me, this is new. Like that first feeling you have of like, yes, a sold out event, like, so I just know it's going to be a time. I know we're going to have a blast. I know God is going to bless us and the ladies that are going to attend, and it's going to be memorable. Like, I really think and see like a bright future with this. I see this and all my other stuff that I'm doing just being incredibly impactful, global impact level. I see lives being changed. I see lifelong friendships being formed, and that's what it's about for me. It really is about that. Like, I know how it feels to be in the pit and you feel like you got nobody. I know how it feels to be like, dang, like I trusted this person, they let me down. I know how it feels to be like, dang, like maybe I am the bad guy. Maybe I really am always the villain type thing, or maybe, like just whatever the case may be, or I don't have time for friends, but I really need them, or, I just want a little bit of support. And it seems like I got to work so much harder for everything. I know how all of that feels, and even more stuff I didn't mention, but it's just been a blessing. So, that's like the gist of what has been happening this year. Of course, you're going to get another yearly roundup, at the end of the year, but maybe I might just do it for Q4 since I kind of already gave y'all the year roundup. But it's been a lot of, that's why I said this year has been bizarre, because it's been a lot of great things. But, unfortunately, my father passed. So that's something that's always going to sting, always going to hit me. Like his birthday is always going to feel different now. May 17th is always going to be etched in my mind now. Christmas is going to feel different now. When I'm living in Guyana more often, that's going to feel different because I can't just go see him and all those things. But that's another thing too. Like just being a virtual assistant opens up my options to be a digital nomad, because that is honestly my ultimate goal. And if you guys would like podcasts about virtual assistant work or just business in general, like comment and let me know, because I don't mind doing that. I just don't want to like bombard you with all business, because it's like there's so many business podcasts out there, but then again there's so many podcasts out there, period, and here I am doing my podcast. So just let me know if that's something you would like to know, because I will be putting content, like I said, behind the scenes content of like VA work and just some tips, tricks, things like that on my Instagram. So if you want to see like quick content, you could go follow me at official Rondelle Martin. But if you want to like get a more drawn out episode, even if it's just about side hustles or something, then let me know. But y'all, that's, like I said, that's my life update. There are great things as far as my love life is concerned. It's up and it's stuck. That's all I'm gonna say about that, and yeah, like I'm just in a overall, I'm in a good place. Now, am I in a certain place? Like, oh yeah, I know for a fact, like I'm gonna make so much money this month, or I know for a fact how this or that is gonna go. No, it's actually very shifty this year. Like this year has been very shifty. Like it's like the minute I get comfortable, it's like shift. The minute, I think, okay, this is what it's gonna be, shift. And I think that's just God like pruning me and strengthening my rest in him, because to rest in him I have to trust him, and to trust him I have to know him in a different level of intimacy. So I think that's just God like, okay, we're gonna prune you in this area, and I think when this year ends I'll be on a whole nother level of just resting in God, because with my mom and my sister relocating, again, they'll be in America, but their main address will be in Guyana. I have to move to a new place with me and my son, And so it's just like a lot to consider. Let me tell you, I don't have the blueprint all figured out. I just know that I will have my place, because God has done it for me before. Like when we moved to Atlanta, we were homeless for about 2 months, and we got the home we live in now, a nice, big, spacious home, brand spanking new. We were the first people to live in this home. We got it with like a portion of the money down that would typically be required, literally a fraction of it. The cheapest house in the neighborhood. They, at that point, I didn't have a job or a thriving business or anything of the sort. My sister came down here with a job that was pretty much low-key promised to her, but then they reneged. It was like all types of things going left. But God said, I'm God. Like, I'm the source. The job, the business, and all that, yes, that's great, but I'm the source. Don't rely on those things more than you rely on me. And we got this house, y'all. Like, under circumstances that nobody should be getting a house, let alone a big new house. Like, nobody should be nobody should be getting it under the circumstances we got it. Like, not qualified at all. Talk about God be calling. He doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. Talk about that, okay? Favor ain't fair. That's all I can say. Favor ain't fair. So walking through that level of miracle, and also just other miracles over the last 5 years of being here, it's astonishing. It's like, God, you really be out here guiding, like you be doing your big one. And October is a special month because it's a month my oldest sister passed away back in 2012. It's the month where I started hosting a community-wide fast. So we're actually in the middle of a fast right now as I'm taping this, called the Soul Surrender Fast. Again, if you've been with me for some years, you remember it being called the Harvest Fast. But I wanted to change it because I wanted it to represent more of like us surrendering to God. Like we're surrendering, and yes, we're coming to God with great faith and expectation, but let's surrender our soul first. And again, your soul is your mind, will, and emotion. So it's like, let's give it to God. Let's really be vessels for him. Like, we can do all the fun things. We can be outside. We can come to God with our requests and all that. But let's be in a posture of like, God, I'm your servant. I'm you're the potter, I'm the clay type of thing, instead of always just coming with a demand, So we're fasting right now. And then October is also the month that I moved to Atlanta. So October, I'm trying to think of the exact day we got here. We left Virginia October 17th, I want to say. But I feel like I didn't get here till the 19th. Like there was some bumps in the road, y'all. The vlog is, did I put the vlog of me actually moving on my channel? I think I did, but you're going to have to go all the way back. Like, you're going to have to filter my videos by oldest, because that's 2019. So you're going to have to go all the way back to like the beginning of my channel. But October is a month of a lot of change, and it's no coincidence that it's the beginning of the fourth quarter, So I'm going to go hard in this fourth quarter. There's lots of things going on in Kingdom Girl Collective. We outside in Q4. It's my son's birthday, November 2nd. My birthday, November 28th. My mom's birthday, December 2nd. My brother's birthday, December 12th. Like, there's Thanksgiving, Christmas. Like, there's lots going on. And I love this time of year for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the things. So I'm just excited to see how God is going to top off the year, like how he's going to finish it off, and how things are going to continue rolling into 2025. Y'all, I'm getting to the point now where I'm getting booked out like 2-3 years in advance. Like, my 2025 is pretty much booked out. My 2026 is almost fully booked out. Like, it's getting to the point now, if you want me to do something major, you're going to have to holler at me in 2027. So I love this for me. I'm living the life that I've always dreamed of, like traveling the world, making money, making connects, doing business with like-minded women where we actually like really get along. Like, I actually can really, really, really be myself. It's just, I love this for me, and I love this for us, and I just cover all of us. every day. And I cover you listening too. And I pray that no matter where you find yourself right now listening to this podcast, that you are encouraged by hearing this. Hopefully you got something from this, because I was just kind of talking. This is very unhinged in a way. I was just catching y'all up because I'm like, I ain't talked to y'all in a minute. So, hey, girl, what's up? Like, but hopefully you got something out of this. And I just want to encourage you that God could do in one day what you thought would take you 1 year to accomplish. Do not give up on God. Trust me, I've been there. Whatever you're going through, chances are I have either been through it myself or I've been in close proximity to it. I've been through a lot in life. And just know that if God could get me through, he could get you through. I'm no better than you. I'm not special. Okay. We all are God's children. And so just continue to trust him and continue to be open to things looking different than how you thought they might look. That's the biggest thing I could take from this year. Get whatever idea you have in your mind out as far as like, it has to be like XYZ, because God has shifted everything for me, but it has turned out to be phenomenal, magnificent. Okay. Just chef's kiss. So I hope that you are encouraged. Give Q4 the best you got. I don't care what your year is looking like right now. Give it the best you got, but ultimately trust God, because it's really not about you. It's about him, and he's in control. He knows everything you're going through, everything that's on your mind, everything you're up against, and he has not forsaken you. He's working things out in your favor. If you want to join the fast with us, I can put the link down below, but honestly, like, we're kind of knee deep in it, but you can at least get the guide. So if you want to join the fast with us, if you hear this in time, then you can go ahead and check it out. And even if you don't, then I'll still give you the guide and you can choose to do it whenever you do it. But if you want a corporate fast with us, you're going to have to do it in October 2024 or the next time I launch it. So I'll put everything in the show notes so you can see. And then other than that, y'all, let's just give it our best. Like I said, let's get it. Let's rely on God more. Let's just trust that everything's going to work out, because it always does. He got us out of all them other situations before. This one is no different. And just rest in God. I can't stress that enough. Rest in him. Allow him to take the wheel. You do whatever you can do within your power, but then let the rest go and let God do what he can do. So that's my life update. Like I said, I will definitely be posting more audio podcasts. Let me know if you like this. Even if you don't, you really don't have a choice. That's all I got for you right now. All I got is an audio podcast. That's all I got, sis. So even if you don't like it, you just gonna have to listen again when I'm back on video. But I hope you don't mind it. Leave me a review. It's free and easy to do. It helps me a ton. And I will see you, or talk to you more so, on the next episode. Love you, sis. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of For My Sisters with Delle podcast. Don't forget to keep the conversation going and use the hashtag #ForMySistersPod on social media so I can see you and show you some love. If there are any topics you'd like me to discuss on the podcast, be sure to email formysisterspodcast@gmail.com. I'll see you on the next episode. Love you. Bye.